Do you ever sense that reality isn't as straightforward as it appears? Is there a deeper truth lurking just beyond the boundaries of our normal perception? Today, I won't present evidence or arguments. Instead, I'll share a story inspired by Dolores Cannon's teachings. It's a tale of profound awakening, confronting realities that defy belief, and uncovering ancient secrets and mystic revelations that challenge the illusion of reality as we know it. Let me introduce you to John, who found himself trapped in the mundane routine of a dead-end corporate job and a passionless relationship. He wandered through life, oblivious to any higher purpose. However, one fateful night, John had a vivid dream that would alter his life's trajectory forever. In his dream, John wandered through a dense, shadowy forest illuminated only by the full moon. A mysterious woman's voice echoed around him, whispering prophecies and revelations into his mind. She declared, "Your time has come, John. You have a crucial role to play. Awaken to your true power." Suddenly, a raven with piercing red eyes appeared before him, delivering a raspy message. "If you have the courage, follow the signs we will leave you. Your destiny awaits." The next morning, John awoke shaken by the intensity of the dream, questioning its significance. Throughout the day, John couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that the dream held deeper meaning. He encountered a raven perched on a lamppost, reminiscent of the one from his dream. Later, during lunch in the park, the same raven landed next to him on a bench, squawking loudly before flying off. Back at home, John stumbled upon an article in a magazine titled "Ancient Methods for Awakening Your Inner Power," describing mystic practices for transcending ordinary consciousness. Each synchronistic encounter heightened John's curiosity and stirred his soul. That night, John had another intense dream, finding himself back in the shadowy forest. This time, he walked purposefully towards a glowing pyramid temple etched with esoteric symbols. The woman's voice proclaimed, "You are now ready for the next stage of your journey. The portal awaits." As John awoke, his heart raced with anticipation. He realized these dreams and synchronicities were not mere coincidences but signs pointing towards something mystical and transformative. At work, John felt a magnetic pull toward uncharted realms of knowledge and potential. His ordinary perceptions were shifting, unveiling new horizons of reality he had never fathomed. Yet, amidst this exhilarating revelation, he sensed an ominous undercurrent. To tread this path required courage, for it meant confronting his deepest fears and shadows. Over the ensuing days, the signs grew more pronounced. Ravens seemed to shadow his every step, their crimson eyes tracking his movements relentlessly. Enigmatic messages surfaced in unexpected places, etched on restroom walls or murmured in unfamiliar tongues aboard trains. John was haunted by visions of a winding staircase leading into a subterranean cavern suffused with crystalline luminescence. Consumed by the need to decipher these enigmas, John realized his former identity was unraveling. He felt a surge of energy tinged with apprehension about the unknown that lay ahead. A tantalizing vista of possibility beckoned, but seizing it demanded delving into the uncharted depths of his psyche. One night, his room transformed into the shadowy forest of his dreams, resonating with the disembodied woman's urgent voice. "Stop resisting, John," it implored. "It is time to transcend this mundane existence. You are ready for the awakening." John awoke drenched in sweat, his heart racing. With resolute determination, he dressed and ventured into the night, prepared to embrace whatever initiation awaited him. After his mystical awakening, John found himself unable to continue his mundane existence. The once familiar routines felt like chains binding him to a life devoid of meaning. His relationship with Sarah, once a refuge of safety, had withered into a barren landscape of frustration and inertia. He realized he had been evading his true self, and the time had come to sever ties with his old life. The journey toward self-discovery demanded a clean break, a leap into the unknown fraught with uncertainty and trepidation. Omens continued to guide John's path, urging him to embrace change. A black cat crossed his path, its eyes conveying a silent message. At work, an email bearing a William Blake quote reinforced the call to cleanse the doors of perception. That evening, John ended his relationship with Sarah, despite her tearful protests. He moved out that very night, leaving behind the safety nets of familiarity and routine. Burning bridges and refusing to look back, John stepped into the void, propelled by a heady mix of fear and liberation. In the ensuing weeks, John retreated further into solitude, distancing himself from society and his former life. He sought to strip away all distractions, devoting himself wholly to the mystical odyssey of self-discovery. Engaging in meditation and esoteric practices, John glimpsed tantalizing visions of realms beyond the mundane world. During one intense meditation session, John envisioned himself emerging from a cocoon, liberated from all constraints. Yet, upon opening his eyes, he found himself still ensconced in the same dingy motel room, grappling with the question, had he truly acquired any genuine power? Could it be a descent into madness? John pondered his sanity as he contemplated his next move. It was evident he needed to sever ties completely and embark on a journey to a new locale, hoping to find clarity and purpose in the process. With scant belongings in tow, he bid farewell to the motel, setting off aimlessly with no predetermined destination in mind. Weeks later, John found himself traversing the untamed expanse of the Rocky Mountains, its rugged terrain mirroring the tumultuous turmoil within. Amidst this wild landscape, a weathered tree seemed to impart a warning in its creaking voice. You cannot escape yourself, John. Your shadows will pursue you until embraced. Overwhelmed by self-doubt, John collapsed, gazing up at the sun's radiant beams piercing through the clouds, signaling a moment of epiphany. John acknowledged that his path to enlightenment necessitated delving into the depths of his subconscious. While he had begun shedding the constraints of his former self, true metamorphosis demanded confronting the enigmatic realms within. Seeking seclusion, he sought refuge in a remote cave near the mountain's apex, embarking on a grueling day-long fast to induce a heightened state of awareness. As hunger gnawed at his resolve, John descended into a feverish delirium, his dreams veering into nightmarish realms. On the third day, amidst his weakened state, he was consumed by a terrifying vision of descending into an infernal subterranean realm, where tortured souls drifted amidst twisted shadows of their former selves. This harrowing encounter marked the commencement of John's descent into his own inner abyss. In subsequent dreams, John found himself entombed in a shallow grave within the cave, paralyzed with panic as spectral figures began interring him alive. Rather than resist, John relinquished control, embracing the inevitable as he descended deeper into the depths of his subconscious underworld. When John awoke, a newfound determination gripped him, propelling him towards the depths he had glimpsed in his dreams. He descended from the mountain cave, navigating treacherous slopes obscured by shadow until he reached the dark valley below. Without hesitation, he entered the cave entrance that had haunted his dreams, guided only by the flickering light of his lantern. The cave led John deep into the bowels of the mountain, where airy rock formations loomed like hungry specters. Winding caverns led him to an underground lake, its inky waters beckoning him towards a tomb shrouded in mystery. A ghostly voice whispered cryptic words, urging John to embrace the journey of self-discovery by surrendering to the darkness. With mounting apprehension, John ventured further, descending stone steps into an abyss of endless darkness. His lantern extinguished, he pressed on blindly, driven by an unseen force. After what felt like an eternity, he emerged into a vast cavern illuminated by ethereal crystals, pulsating with mystic energies. At the heart of the cavern, John encountered a pool of still water reflecting distorted images of himself. A booming voice echoed through the chamber, urging him to confront his shadows and integrate his fractured self. With trembling resolve, John submerged himself in the icy waters, confronting his distorted reflection with courage and acceptance. As he emerged from the depths, gasping for air, John knew that he had completed his journey into the abyss, uncovering hidden truths within his soul. Empowered by this newfound understanding, he ascended from the caves, drawn by an unseen force towards the summit of the snow-capped mountain. Amidst swirling winds and ethereal music, John reached the summit, where a radiant portal beckoned him towards sublime realms beyond. Guided by spectral beings, neither male nor female, John stepped through the portal, ready to embark on the next phase of his mystical journey into transcendence. To unlock your spiritual potential, you must release your earthly ego and completely surrender yourself. Without hesitation, John stepped towards the radiant portal, yet, as he crossed the threshold, demonic entities materialized, blocking his path, mocking him. They claimed to be his own creation, declaring transcendence impossible. Despite the creeping dread, John remained composed, turning inward to meditate. Confronting his fears, he dissolved them, causing the demons to dissipate into tendrils of black smoke. Suddenly, John ascended into cosmic vistas, inundated with transmissions of mystical knowledge. Esoteric geometries danced around him, revealing profound symbolic meanings and arcane formulas. Perceiving the interconnectedness of all existence, John neared the pinnacle of transcendence. However, a vision of Sarah, crying out for him back on earth, stirred reluctance within him. Tempted by earthly attachments, John hesitated. In that moment, a thunderous voice resonated, commanding John to relinquish all attachments for ascension. With profound sorrow, John severed his final bonds, shedding his last limitation. As he did, the portal blazed into a singular point of infinite light. John merged with this transcendent essence, purified and reborn, immersed in divine unity, freed from the constraints of time and space. John experienced an eternity of absolute being. Gradually, awareness returned to John, signaling it was not yet time to remain in this state of absolute existence. Floating back into a familiar yet fundamentally altered reality, John perceived heightened senses and sacred resonance imbuing every aspect of the natural world. Realizing this was but one peak experience on his greater journey, John embraced the blissful afterglow of his initiation. In the ensuing weeks, John discovered newfound abilities to heal others with his touch and perceive their energies and auras. Mindful of the potential misuse of these gifts, John exercised caution. Despite delving into esoteric realms beyond imagination, John understood the supreme test lay ahead. His destiny crystallized, signaling the time to share his catalytic wisdom and ignite the awakening of humanity itself. Now, having attained profound awakening, John recognized humanity's entrapment in illusion and felt compelled to awaken others. Returning to the city, John quietly shared his revelations, gathering devotees drawn to his otherworldly wisdom and healing prowess. However, the dominant institutions perceived John's message as a threat, and obstacles emerged to hinder his mission. Undeterred, John faced these challenges head-on, even as shadowy agents conspired against him. Arrested for subversive activities, John remained calm, understanding this as part of the test he anticipated. In a prison cell, he confronted the warden, a figure with dark hypnotic powers, who sought to silence his message. Undeterred, John remained resolute, knowing his purpose was to challenge the hierarchies of the world. John sat in silent meditation, allowing no alteration. He remained motionless until visions unveiled the warden's vulnerability, exposing deep-seated fear beneath his facade of control. When the warden returned to interrogate John, he suddenly crumbled, overwhelmed by his shattered illusion of authority. John had triumphed with superior insight, revealing the frailty of the warden's constructed reality. Moved by compassion, John gently touched the warden's forehead, restoring his shattered psyche before departing freely. John's renown and followers burgeoned swiftly, attracting seekers while drawing the ire of those clinging to false securities. Undeterred by opposition, John grew more resolute in his mission, each trial reinforcing its urgency. Secretly gathering disciples, John initiated them into mystical practices and elevated states of consciousness, imparting esoteric wisdom and cautioning against misuse of their newfound abilities. As John's movement gained momentum, governing powers perceived him as a grave threat, disrupting their control systems. A devastating drone strike on John's desert sanctuary claimed numerous lives, revealing his followers' location through occult means. John eluded capture, seeking refuge in the city's desolate corners, relying on inner fortitude to endure. Patiently awaiting the opportune moment, John evaded authorities, aware that his earthly time was limited. Despite the looming confrontation, John harbored faith that his enlightened few would carry forth his mission. As he prepared to deliver his boldest revelation yet, a spectral guide appeared, forewarning of his imminent departure and presenting the choice of martyrdom for the awakening of others. After John's transcendence, his disciples, though grieving, found solace in their burgeoning community, rallying behind his teachings. John's legacy endured as a beacon of mystical enlightenment against oppressive forces, attracting former skeptics and seekers alike. Their clandestine gatherings to practice his teachings and share transformative visions signaled a burgeoning movement that authorities feared would transcend their control. In their efforts to maintain control, they sought to infiltrate the devoted, enticing some with promises of safety and status. The disciples understood the importance of remaining concealed to sustain the dissemination of John's teachings. Among them, Mara, a gifted disciple, had cultivated her psychic prowess under John's tutelage. She adeptly traversed the spiritual realm, covertly connecting with scattered groups of followers to reinforce their networks. In the physical realm, Mira became a target of the same shadowy forces that had silenced John, yet in the spiritual realm, she remained untouchable. Night after night, she projected her astral form to offer guidance, reminding followers of John's profound teachings whenever doubts or fears arose. Over time, factions emerged among the devotees, some advocating for altering John's message to evade external persecution. However, Mira staunchly upheld his original teachings of transcendence and defiance against earthly powers. She intervened to deter disciples from seeking personal status or privilege, even as authorities intensified their oppression, raiding sanctuaries and confiscating forbidden mystical texts. Despite their efforts, they couldn't extinguish John's following. His vision continued to spread like sparks from an unseen flame. Eventually, a pivotal moment arrived when 1,000 followers gathered atop a remote mountain, awaiting a sign from the spirit realm. As the full moon reached its zenith, a luminous rift appeared in the starry sky. Mira emerged from the glowing portal, ascending to the heavens but leaving behind John's sacred manuscript imbued with his transcendent wisdom and revolutionary fervor. In the ensuing years, the clandestine publication and distribution of John's book reached disillusioned truth-seekers disenchanted with mainstream society. His teachings resonated deeply, igniting waves of awakening that eluded the authorities' control. Small communities dedicated to practicing John's meditations and mystical rituals emerged, committed to actualizing his vision of humanity's enlightenment.